You say you want success. You say you want change. You say you want to be great. But the second it gets hard, the second life punches you in the face, you start reaching for an excuse. Excuses are the language of weakness. They are the soft whispers that keep you trapped in the same place, telling you it's okay, so it's okay to quit. It's okay to be less than what you're capable of. Every time you open your mouth to justify why you didn't do something, why you can't do something, or why life is unfair, you are speaking the language of defeat. You're training your mind to accept failure before you've even tried. Excuses are not logical. They are emotional protection mechanisms built to keep you comfortable and unchallenged. They sound smart in the moment, but they rot your potential over time. The truth is, excuses are lies. You tell them to yourself to feel better about not putting in the work. You say, I'm too tired, when you know deep down it's not exhaustion, it's laziness. You say, I don't have time, when you've wasted hours scrolling through distractions. You say, I don't have the resources, when the real problem is that you lack creativity and drive. Excuses create a story in your head where you're the victim. And as long as you believe that story, you'll never change it. Every excuse you speak is a seed of weakness planted in your mind, and eventually, it grows into a habit of mediocrity. No one has ever reached greatness by explaining why they couldn't. The people who rise to the top are not the ones who have fewer problems. They are the ones who refuse to let their problems define them. When life throws pain, struggle, and setbacks your way, you have two choices: to make excuses or to make progress. The weak choose excuses. The strong choose action. The world's tough. That's the dividing line between those who talk about what they could have been and those who become what they said they would be. Excuses disguise themselves as reason. They sound logical. They sound valid. But they are built on fear. Fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of discomfort. That's why they feel so natural. You're not lazy because you don't care. You're lazy because fear has convinced you that trying and failing is worse than not trying at all. But that's a lie. The real pain isn't failure, it's regret. It's waking up one day realizing you let your potential die because you kept saying, tomorrow. Excuses feed regret. And regret eats away at your soul slowly until you can't even recognize the person you were meant to be. You must train your mind to recognize excuses the moment they appear and kill them before they take root. When that little voice tells you it's too late, too hard, too far, you answer it with discipline. You shut it down with action. You don't negotiate with weakness because weakness doesn't care about your goals. It only wants comfort. Every time you ignore that voice and push through, you take back control of your life. You strengthen your mind, your will, and your character. Excuses might make you feel safe, but they keep you small. They keep you average. And the longer you cling to them, the harder it becomes to break free. Weakness doesn't announce itself loudly. It hides in the small justifications you repeat every day. It hides in the moments when you could have done more but didn't. You can't speak strength while thinking weakness. If you want to be unstoppable, your language must match your intent. Stop saying I can't and start saying I will. Stop finding reasons to quit and start finding ways to win. The words you speak shape the person you become. If you keep talking like a victim, you'll live like one. But if you choose to silence the excuses and take ownership, you'll unlock a version of yourself that doesn't break when life gets hard. A version that fights, grinds, and never backs down. The grind doesn't care about your feelings. It doesn't stop because you're tired, sad, or unmotivated. It doesn't care that you had a bad day, that people doubted you, or that life feels unfair. The grind exists beyond emotion. It's cold, relentless, and brutally honest. It only rewards action, consistency, and effort. You can cry, complain, and scream about how hard it is, but none of that changes the truth. The work still has to be done. Feelings fade, but discipline remains. That's why the strong separate themselves from the weak. Because while others let emotion dictate their actions, the relentless push through regardless of how they feel. The grind doesn't care about your mood swings or your excuses. It doesn't pause for comfort or wait for motivation to return. You either show up and execute, or you fall behind. The world is full of people who talk about how badly they want success, yet vanish the moment the process becomes painful. Everyone wants to be great when it's easy. Everyone wants to work hard when it's convenient. But when the alarm goes off before sunrise, when the body aches, when everything inside you screams to stop, that's where the real ones are forged. The grind exposes who truly wants it and who just likes the idea of wanting it. There are days when your mind will betray you, when it will whisper that you deserve a break, that no one would blame you for slowing down. But the grind doesn't negotiate. It doesn't care if you slept 2 hours or if your heart feels heavy. It demands effort, focus, and consistency whether you feel like giving or not. That's why emotions can never be your compass. They shift too easily. They are fragile, fleeting, and unreliable. If you only move when you feel good, you'll never go far. Success belongs to those who act no matter what mood they're in, who show up with the same intensity, whether the sun is shining or the storm is raging. Most people misunderstand what it means to grind. They think it's about working when motivated. But real grind is about working especially when you're not. It's about showing up when it's inconvenient, painful, or emotionally draining. It's the quiet, lonely hours when no one's watching, when there's no praise, no applause, no spotlight, that separate the discipline from the dreamers. You can't fake that. You can't hide from that. When you face the grind, it exposes the truth of your character. It doesn't care about your talent, your background, or your feelings. It only cares about what you consistently do when no one's paying attention. When the weight feels too heavy, when progress seems invisible, that's when most people quit. They tell themselves they've done enough, that they've earned a rest. But the grind doesn't reward half effort. It doesn't respect comfort. It respects resilience. It respects those who keep moving forward, even when their body screams no. Because every drop of sweat, every ounce of pain, every day you push past emotion is a deposit toward greatness. The grind pays you back, but only in proportion to the pain you're willing to endure. So when your feelings tell you to stop, remember, feelings lie. The grind doesn't. The grind gives back exactly what you put in. It's the most honest force in life. It doesn't owe you anything, but it will give you everything if you earn it. You don't get stronger by waiting to feel ready. You get stronger by doing what needs to be done, even when every part of you resists it. That's how champions are built, not in comfort, not in motivation, but in moments when emotion says quit and discipline says go. The grind doesn't care about your feelings, and that's exactly why it's the purest test of who you are. Pain is the ticket to greatness. Every person who has ever achieved something extraordinary has paid their price in pain. There is no shortcut, no secret, no easy path that skips over the struggle. Pain is the currency of progress. It's the test that determines how badly you want what you say you want. Most people run from it because it hurts, because it's uncomfortable, because it strips away the illusion of ease. But those who understand the truth embrace it. They know that pain is not punishment. It's transformation. It's the refining fire that burns away weakness, doubt, and fear until only strength remains. Pain exposes the parts of you that comfort keeps hidden. When everything feels easy, you never see what you're really made of. But when you're pushed to your limits, when you're bleeding, broken, and tired, that's when your true self appears. Pain is honest. It doesn't lie to you like comfort does. Comfort tells you you're fine where you are. Pain tells you you're meant for more. It's the signal that you're growing, that you're alive, that you're pushing past the walls that keep ordinary people trapped in mediocrity. Without pain, there is no evolution. Without suffering, there is no strength. The world has taught people to avoid pain at all costs, to stay safe, to chase happiness and convenience. But comfort breeds weakness. Every time you choose the easy way, you're choosing stagnation over progress. Pain, on the other hand, builds armor around your mind. It sharpens your will, it deepens your focus, and it teaches you to keep moving when everything around you screams to stop. It's in those moments of raw struggle, when you're gasping for air, when your muscles are shaking, when your mind is begging you to quit, that greatness is being carved into your soul. Pain isn't the obstacle, it's the path. When you feel pain, you have two choices: surrender to it or rise through it. Most people surrender. They look for comfort, distractions, or excuses to escape the burn. But the few who rise, they're the ones who change everything. They understand that pain is a signal to push harder, not to give up. They understand that the struggle is not something to be avoided, but something to be conquered. Pain demands respect because it is the most powerful teacher you will ever have. It teaches patience, humility, and resilience, lessons that no amount of success can give you without first earning them through suffering. Pain also reveals perspective. When you've fought through enough of it, the things that once broke you no longer have power over you. You begin to see how strong you truly are. What used to seem impossible becomes normal because you've conditioned yourself to endure. The pain you used to fear becomes your fuel. You learn to crave the struggle because you understand it's the only way to stay sharp, to stay alive, to stay hungry. You realize that comfort is not the reward. Growth is. And growth only comes through the grind, through the struggle, through the pain. The road to greatness is paved with moments that test your limits. It will hurt. It will break you down. It will make you question everything. But on the other side of that pain is power. On the other side is clarity, confidence, and control. You can't skip that process and expect to earn the rewards. Pain is the price of admission for a life that means something. Every scar, every tear, every sleepless night, it's all proof that you're paying the price that average people are too afraid to pay. Pain is not your enemy. It's your entry fee. It's the cost of greatness. And only those willing to endure it ever get to experience what true strength feels like. Accountability over comfort is the mindset that separates those who talk about change from those who actually make it happen. It's easy to say you want success, but the real question is whether you're willing to take full responsibility for your life. Every action, every decision, every failure. Accountability means looking in the mirror and admitting that where you are right now is the result of what you've done or failed to do. No blaming circumstances, no blaming others, no excuses. The moment you choose accountability, you take control. The moment you choose comfort, you surrender it. Comfort is seductive. It whispers to you that you deserve a break, that you've done enough, that you can start tomorrow. It tells you to take it easy, to relax, to let life happen on its own. But comfort is a liar. It tricks you into believing you're safe while your potential rots away in silence. Every time you pick comfort over accountability, you weaken your edge. You silence that inner voice that knows you can do more. Accountability doesn't let you off the hook. It demands you show up even when you don't feel like it. It demands you keep promises you made to yourself when no one is watching. The truth is, accountability hurts because it leaves no room for excuses. It forces you to confront your laziness, your fear, and your lack of discipline. It makes you uncomfortable because it exposes the truth that your effort doesn't always match your ambition. But that's exactly why it's powerful. The moment you stop hiding behind reasons and start taking ownership of your results, you start growing. You start reclaiming control of your future. When you're accountable, failure becomes feedback, not defeat. You stop seeing obstacles as the world working against you and start seeing them as opportunities to toughen your resolve. Most people choose comfort because it's easy. It requires nothing from them. Accountability requires everything. It requires honesty, humility, and consistency. It requires waking up earlier than you want to, pushing harder than you feel like, and holding yourself to a higher standard even when no one else expects you to. Accountability doesn't wait for motivation. It's driven by discipline. It's not about perfection. It's about progress. You don't have to have all the answers. You just have to own your actions, good or bad, and commit to doing better. When you start holding yourself accountable, something changes inside you. You stop comparing yourself to others because you realize the real battle is between who you are and who you're supposed to be. You stop waiting for someone to push because you become your own coach, your own critic, your own motivation. You start to see how much power you've been given away by blaming everything around you. Accountability is freedom because it puts the outcome in your hands. You no longer depend on luck, circumstances, or validation. You depend on effort. You depend on you. Comfort kills ambition. It's the silent assassin of potential. It lulls you into thinking you're doing fine, while it slowly steals your hunger. The people who rise, who build, who transform their lives, they don't chase comfort. They chase accountability. They live by the truth that if something doesn't work, they fix it. If they fail, they learn. If they fall, they get up. Every single day, they take ownership of their effort, their time, and their mindset. And that's what separates the disciplined from the distracted, the driven from the defeated. If you want to build something that lasts, whether it's strength, success, or self-respect, you have to stop choosing what feels good now and start choosing what will make you better later. Accountability will challenge you, embarrass you, and stretch you beyond what's comfortable. But comfort will never give you pride, progress, or purpose. The path to greatness will always demand that you stand up and own your life. Not sometimes, not when it's easy, but every single day. Because only when you choose accountability over comfort do you become unstoppable. Outwork your weakness. That's the only way to destroy the limits that live inside your mind. Everyone has weaknesses. Everyone has fears. Everyone has excuses waiting to be used. The difference between those who rise and those who stay average is that the strong refuse to let weakness control their life. They attack it. They face it. They outwork it. You can't talk your way past your weaknesses. You can't hide from them or pretend they don't exist. The only way to conquer them is to put in the work, day after day, until what once held you back becomes what drives you forward. Weakness isn't a curse. It's a challenge. It's the part of you that shows you where to grow. The problem is, most people run from it. They cover it up with comfort, with excuses, with distractions that make them feel strong for a moment, but keep them weak for a lifetime. Outworking your weakness means confronting it head on, not once, but every single day. It means waking up and doing the things you hate, the things you fear, the things that make you uncomfortable, until they no longer own you. Every time you push through resistance, you take a piece of your weakness and turn it into strength. You can't build strength in a place of ease. You can't become resilient without first being tested. The moments that make you want to quit are the same moments that have the power to define you. Weakness whispers in your ear that you're not good enough, that it's too hard, that you've done enough already. But that voice doesn't speak truth. It speaks fear. The way you silence it isn't with words, it's with action. You outwork it. You prove it wrong. You show up when you don't feel like it. You train when you're tired. You stay disciplined when motivation disappears. You do the work your weaker self would avoid. Every rep, every mile, every extra hour you put in chips away at the old version of you. The one that settled, the one that doubted, the one that quit too soon. The process isn't glamorous. It's lonely, it's painful, and it demands more from you than you think you can give. But that's where transformation happens. You don't find greatness in bursts of motivation. You find it in relentless repetition. You find it in your willingness to keep going when everyone else stops. Outworking your weakness is not about proving something to the world. It's about proving something to yourself, that you can become stronger than the excuses that once controlled you. You have to treat weakness like an enemy that's trying to steal your potential. Every time you choose discipline over laziness, every time you push when your body screams no, you take back territory from that enemy. You have to be ruthless about it. You can't negotiate with weakness because the moment you do, it takes control again. Outworking it means building habits that overpower emotion, building systems that remove choice, and showing up no matter what. You don't wait for perfect conditions. You create results in chaos. The truth is, weakness never truly disappears. But if you keep outworking it, it loses power. It becomes fuel instead of friction. It becomes the reminder that you have more to give, more to fight for, more to become. When you learn to embrace that, you become dangerous, because nothing can stop someone who knows how to suffer and still move forward. The world doesn't respect words, it respects work. And the only way to outgrow your limits is to outwork them, to outlast them, and to outfight them every single day. When the weak version of you wants to quit, the stronger version has to show up and say, not today. That's how you win. That's how you evolve. That's how you outwork your weakness until it has no power left over your life.